If there's one thing you gotta know about me, it's that I love me some Star Fox 64.
Oh my god! Wow!
I've already talked excessively about all the things I love about it, but today I want to focus on one particular element that I think this game executes perfectly: the bosses. These climactic encounters are as varied as they are engaging, and each of them offers something different, whether that be challenge, spectacle, or just plain fun. In this video, I'm going to rank each of them based on the gameplay they offer, their personality, and their cool factor, but of course it really just boils down to which ones I like best. Leave your own favorites in the comments, and remember, every like on this video equals one respect put on Peppy's name. If you end up enjoying the video, consider subscribing and clicking the bell to be notified about my future videos. But we've got bosses to rank, so let's
Step on the gas. Great Fox is exploding.
You're either not surprised at all to find the Copperhead missiles at the bottom of this list, or very surprised that I included them at all. Calling these a boss is a stretch, but they act as the climax of the Sector Z ambush, so I decided they serve a similar purpose. They appear at the edge of the map and fly menacingly towards the Great Fox, and you have to destroy them before they reach their target. They don't fire back or engage with Fox or anything else in the level, and destroying them is a simple matter of shooting them a bunch. This makes fighting them pretty boring, with the only challenge coming from the limited time you have to take them down. They lack spectacle, they of course have no personality, and they single-handedly make Sector Z the hardest medal in the game to get, since you get no points if your allies land the final shot. They're also completely optional. If you don't care about getting to Area 6, you can just let one hit the Great Fox and the stage ends. They're a big part of the reason why I don't like Sector Z, and if we're calling them a boss, they're quite a bit worse than what the rest of the game has to offer.
Jeez Louise, what the fuck is that?
Golem is less of a boss and more of a target to shoot at while you do your best to survive the treacherous tunnel leading up to the showdown with Andross. He leaves a slew of obstacles behind him as you chase him down, and it's a thrilling flight section, but it feels more like a navigation challenge rather than a boss fight. He also doesn't have any voice lines or personality, which is a huge part of what I love about so many of the bosses in this game, so that's a point against him. I don't dislike this section at all. It serves its purpose well, and taking him down is always satisfying, but it still falls short compared to more complete bosses.
It's time to party, you freaks.
This fight takes place across two stages. The first sees you battling the Shogun warriors, which aren't much different from the rest of the mechs you've been fighting throughout Sector Y. I don't think they're very fun to fight, and they can be very difficult to see against the blackness of space, especially with the 64's fuzzy graphics. But once you destroy them, the true boss appears, Shogun. He's piloting another mech, and it looks pretty cool. Hard not to see the Gundam inspiration. He's tougher than the other mechs, and he's much quicker and more evasive, meaning he's quite a bit harder to hit. This is balanced by the fact that he periodically decides to just take a break and sit on his ship, meaning you can easily decimate his health bar. The best thing about Shogun by far is his voice acting, and I love his line when he shows up just when you think you've won the battle.
Don't party just yet.
It's a fun fake out, and his personality is on par with many of the other bosses, but I think the lackluster gameplay, poor visibility, and lack of spectacle makes this one of the weaker boss fights in the game.
All units, go play!
Attack Carrier is a remix of a boss in the original Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, and it's really cool to see this new take on it. As Corneria's secret boss, it may well be the first boss you face, so it's unsurprisingly easy. Even so, it may be a little too easy. The first stage requires you to shoot its hatches as they launch missiles, and I'm not sure I've ever taken damage on this part. The missiles just fly around aimlessly and usually end up chasing down your teammates instead of you. The destructive element is nice though, as the ship falls apart piece by piece. In the second stage, it will actually shoot at you, but you can pretty much beat it by just mashing A. I think it's a perfectly fine first boss, and a nice reward for finding the alternate route, even if it is relatively tame. The voice lines go pretty hard, and beating it triggers one of my favorite moments in the game.
Who are you guys?
We're Star Fox.
You'll never defeat Andross!
Andross is an insane monkey. He's crazy.
Bakun is one of the strangest enemies in the game, a massive, clam-like creature that spews pollution and has a huge, scary eyeball. I like this design quite a bit, and it fits the eerie atmosphere of Aquas perfectly. It also speaks to the destructive influence Andros has had on the Lylat system, blackening the otherwise beautiful Aquas ocean with pollution. It's one of the hardest encounters in the whole game, and requires careful use of the Blue Marine's weaponry. It floods the screen with these bubbles that not only damage you, but obscure your line of fire. To damage it, you have to attack this nasty flesh thing protecting its eye, then launch a well-timed torpedo when it goes down, all while clearing the screen of the pesky bubbles. It's a well-designed and intense fight, and the only reason I've placed it this low is because I subjectively don't like piloting the Blue Marine that much, and I'm just personally fonder of many other boss fights.
I've got 2 words for you. Daddy died.
Starwolf needs no introduction. This evil band of mercenaries is a dark reflection of the Star Fox team, and they serve as a more personal foe than even Andros. Wolf's arrogance and hatred for Fox comes through loud and clear, and Pigma's gleeful, gloating evil makes him one of the most despicable characters in the series. Andrew sounds like the whiniest, bitchiest daddy's boy I've ever heard, and Leon's haughty disdain rounds out the team well. You encounter them first at Fortuna, which is a fantastic introduction for them. They show up just in time to stop Fox from doing what he needs to do, and that will remain true for all their future appearances. The battle plays out like a dogfight, with each member of Starwolf engaging a member of Star Fox. Wolf will relentlessly hound Fox, and you'll have to make use of the Arwing's maneuverability to line up a shot and take him down. With him out of the way, you're free to help out your teammates, who are completely helpless on their own. There are no less than 3 different Starwolf encounters in this game, but you'll only encounter them a maximum of 2 times in a single run. I've put the Fortuna battle here simply because it's quite a bit easier and simpler than the other 2 fights with them, and the Starwolf battles are far from my favorite fights in the game.
Ah, you annoying little flies are starting to annoy me.
Okay, I've held that as long as I could, but this is as high as I could justify placing Grenga. He's the first boss in the game, providing you don't take the detour to face the attack carrier, and he does a great job of introducing the concept. He's piloting a huge walker that launches missiles and stomps around the plains of Corneria, hurling insults at the Star Fox team. Grenga is legitimately one of my favorite characters in the whole game, and he's the perfect example of how the small cast of voice actors gave everything they had.
My Emperor! I failed you!
Me and my siblings have been quoting this guy for 20 years. This fight does a good job of familiarizing the player with the all-range mode, and if you're new to the game or just bad at it, this is a pretty fun fight. You're supposed to shoot out his legs and take him to the ground, then finish him off once he's vulnerable. But if you've played this game for nearly 3 decades, well, yeah, this boss is easy to the point of non-existence. But I still count it among my favorites, and I have really fond childhood memories of flying around aimlessly and blowing off my wings on his legs.
I'm coming from behind. This brings back memories of your dad.
I'm willing to bet a lot of people would pick this as their favorite boss in the game, and I completely understand why. It's very strange and otherworldly, the pinnacle of Andros' evil handiwork. It's a disgusting fusion of biology and technology, a conglomeration of meat and teeth and metal. Okay, so that description of Gorgon that I just gave, the fusion of biology and technology, that's what I always thought Gorgon was growing up. I've only ever really played Star Fox 64, and in those old graphics, I always interpreted what I was seeing as like flesh and teeth combined with metal and technology. But I just happened to see footage of Gorgon from Star Fox 64 3D, which obviously has quite a bit better graphics, and that is not there at all. So I looked it up on the wiki, and there is no reference to Gorgon being any kind of cyborg or bioweapon. It looks like it is just a big spaceship that has weird abilities. So I guess disregard all that. I'm a little disappointed because I always thought it was cool. But anyway, on with the ranking. It phases in and out of reality, lashing out with tentacles, launching barrages of missiles, and firing a deadly laser beam that can apparently destroy planets in a single shot. It may be the hardest boss in the game, and provides a challenge befitting the intensity of Area 6. It's a grueling endurance battle, requiring you to survive its attacks until it exposes its weak spot. It makes up for the lack of voice lines and personality by the sheer oddity and eeriness it exudes. By all means, it should probably rank higher. I just prefer the spectacle and charm of others. Guys, real quick, let me tell you about my Patreon and Discord server. I work really hard on all my videos and I love engaging with my viewers, so if you want to support the channel in a more tangible way, the best way to do that is to become a patron or a YouTube member. All patrons and members are credited in my videos, and those in the Great Fairy tier get special shoutouts. For example, I want to give a big shout out to The Shining Gamer, my only Great Fairy member. He's not only a great guy, but he does awesome streams, so check him out here on YouTube. Patrons and members also get special roles in my Discord server, which is where I hang out and engage with my community when I'm not releasing videos. Great Fairy members also get access to exclusive channels, so don't miss out. Check out the links below, and thanks for all the support you've already given me. Back to the video.
I admit, you're more stupid than I thought.
Meteor Crusher is another returning boss from OG Star Fox, and it's one of my all-time favorites. The pilot is potentially the most smug and sly of Andross's lieutenants, and I hated him so much as a kid. Every voice line is dripping with arrogance and disdain, and it's just delightful.
You're not as stupid as you look!
The boss fight itself is one of the easier ones, but it also has some interesting elements. In the first stage, the weak spots are protected by a rotating shield that absorbs your lasers and fires back. Halfway through the battle, he fakes a surrender, trying to catch Fox off guard. Falco isn't having it though.
I'm no match for you. I admit defeat. Are you gonna listen to that monkey?
The second phase can be deadly if you're not careful, as he launches laser beams that track your movements. I've always loved the noise these lasers make. I'm super nostalgic for this one. When I was a little kid, I didn't know about the secret waterfall, and I couldn't beat Starwolf, so I would just play Corneria, Meteo, and Fortuna over and over again. This battle always brings a smile to my face, and reminds me why I love this game so much. Also, he has the best defeat line in the game.
I can't believe I lost to this scum! Sorry to Jet, but I'm in a hurry.
It's too hot! I can't take temperatures up to 9,000 degrees. Ah!
Volcane is right at home in the scorching hellscape of Solar, and it's honestly pretty scary. It looks like a cross between a hellish praying mantis and the devil, and while the battle isn't that difficult, it's still quite harrowing. It swipes at you with long bladed arms and launches fiery boulders from its mouth. Volcane is unique in that it uses the very environment against you, leaping high in the air to cause a tidal wave of lava. It doesn't have voice lines, but it makes up for that with the sheer force of its intimidating presence and fantastic spectacle. Volcane makes Solar feel even more hostile and unforgiving, and proves that Andross's evil has spread to even the most inhospitable locations in the Lylat system.
Andross has ordered us to take you to the party.
Approaching Venom from Area 6 sees you facing off against Starwolf in the penultimate battle before Andross. This is clearly meant to be a second encounter after Fortuna, as the team shows signs of injury and their ships have been heavily upgraded, but several potential routes will have this as the only time you face them. This is a bit weird and throws off the continuity of these routes a bit, and I have to wonder if there was meant to be another Starwolf encounter in the game that would guarantee this as a rematch. It's not a big deal though, and in any case, it's a great fight. They respond to being attacked much quicker, barrel rolling and somersaulting to avoid damage. It really makes Starwolf and Star Fox feel like equals, facing off in a battle between good and evil. Defeating them right before facing Andross is a satisfying conclusion, almost like you're tying up loose ends before ending the war for good. I like it quite a bit better than the Starwolf battle on Fortuna, but there's still one more I like better.
You're good, but I'm trash.
And that would be the one on Bulse, the defense satellite blocking the path to Venom. I like this fight because there's a secondary objective you have to take down at the same time you're dealing with Starwolf, making it much more intense. Bulse makes a great setting for a spaceship battle, and it's one of those moments where you just have to appreciate how cool this old game is. Very few games do such a perfect job of capturing the fantasy they were going for. This fight is different from the one on Venom, as the team will have different appearances and voice lines depending on whether or not you face them on Fortuna, which is great attention to detail. This has long been my favorite Starwolf fight in the game, and it's a great level all around. Hey, it's me from the future again. This was something else that I got slightly wrong, and it was very confusing because while I was getting footage for this video, I went to Fortuna, and then I went to Bulse, and Starwolf didn't show up. And that blew my mind because I knew I had distinct memories of fighting Starwolf a second time at Bulls. So I did some research, and it turns out that if you beat Starwolf on Fortuna, they will not show up on Bulls. But if you lose, Starwolf does show up a second time, and they will be missing any members that you destroyed on Fortuna. So I wanted to clarify that. It's actually even more attention to detail than I remembered, and I think it's really cool. So back to the video.
Hurry up and fuck yourself, Fox.
Sorcerer is a very silly name for a very cool boss. Katina is not one of my favorite levels, but this boss provides such a neat spectacle as it hovers menacingly over the battlefield, flooding the area with drones from its hatches. You have to destroy these hatches when they open, which is both fun and feels pretty immersive and interactive. Once you've destroyed them, or if you go too long without doing so, the ship's core will emerge and begin charging the laser. If you don't destroy it before the countdown runs out, it will destroy Katina Base with a very cool laser beam, clearly inspired by Independence Day. Taking it out leads to an equally cool cutscene in which it slowly descends and explodes, which you'd think would also destroy the base, but whatever. Sorcerer elevates what would otherwise be a fairly underwhelming level, and it's also a pretty cool reference to Independence Day.
Slippy, what are you doing? Can't you go bother someone else?
Titania is probably the level I've changed my opinion on the most over the years, and it's become one that I enjoy a lot. That goes for its boss as well. Boris is a creepy, spooky skeleton monster that has Slippy in its clutches, and rescuing him is a great story element. I really like how the boss meter doesn't show up until you free Slippy, a reminder that he's the one that provides that information in all the boss fights. This fight requires you to use all of the Landmaster tank's capabilities, whether that be hovering over his tail strike or barrel rolling to dodge the laser. To defeat Gorus, you have to blow off his limbs and tear open his ribcage with a bomb, revealing the mass of flesh that seems to be animating him. It's gross and weird, and fits the arid, haunting wasteland of Titania perfectly. Gorus is the only boss in the game that is not one of Andross' soldiers or experiments. He's just some ancient beast that happened to get a hold of Slippy when he crash landed here. I like it a lot, and it makes for a fantastic set piece.
The secret weapon is your dad.
Sector X has such an eerie, mysterious atmosphere, and Spyborg's reveal is an excellent payoff. It's a creepy, half-sentient, and fully hostile robot, spouting cryptic nonsense as it attacks Star Fox.
Where is the creator? What's he saying?
In my retrospective, I mistakenly stated that Sector X is a junkyard, when in truth, it's the remains of a destroyed base. It seems Andross lost control of Spyborg after its creation, and it subsequently wrecked the entire place. You can catch glimpses of Spyborg's arms crashing through the debris as you fly through the wreckage, but it isn't clear what it is until you face the complete package. Spyborg attacks Fox with giant arms and lasers fired from his eyes, which are also its weak points. Once the head is destroyed, it seems to be dead, but it springs back to life with a sassy finger waggle. This seems to anger Slippy, who charges in recklessly only to be smacked down to Titania.
Slippy!
You can actually avoid this by destroying Spyborg before Slippy gets the chance to do something stupid, which is a cool and interactive element. Spyborg is pretty fun to fight, but I think the best thing about it is the creepiness and the cool factor.
Disrespectful little whelps! I'll shoot!
Saru Marine is simply one of the most fun bosses in the game. It's endlessly satisfying to launch bombs and sink different parts of the weaponized submarine, but this fight is more about strategy than brute force. The Saru Marine is completely invulnerable, even to bombs, but you can sink its cannons. However, it will just dive down underwater and reattach them. To beat this deadly war machine, you have to destroy it piece by piece. First the snorkel so it can't dive, then the crane so it can't reattach the broken pieces. Only when you've stripped it of all its weaponry and gadgets can it finally be taken out, and it's immensely satisfying to do so. You can actually see the Saru Marine's periscope watching you as you go through the mission, which is a fun detail. The captain is one of my favorite characters. He has this fun pirate accent and he seems so grumpy. This fight is an example of Star Fox 64 at its very best, and it's a great capstone to a great level.
Here come the little hyenas now! Get away!
Macbeth is a level that is truly defined by its boss, and it makes it one of the most fun and unique experiences in the game. From the very start of the level, you're driving alongside a massive train, loaded with weapons and supplies for Andross' army. It's an incredibly fun challenge to destroy one car after another as you make your way towards the front. Blowing this thing up piece by piece is so satisfying, as each explosion brings you closer and closer to the engine. When you get there, the engineer launches a flying robot called Mechbeth as a last-ditch effort to take Fox out. This is technically the actual boss of the level, and it's my least favorite part of Mechbeth, so I might be cheating a bit with this placement. But I think the spectacle, challenge, and sheer fun of chasing down the train throughout the level has to count for something. And nothing in the entire game feels as good as flipping all the switches to send the train crashing into the factory.
No! Hit the brake! I say, stop it!
Move it, Fox! Andross is right behind you!
As cliche as it is to put the final boss at the top of the list, the encounter with Andross simply can't be denied. Granga may have more iconic voice lines, Cerebrine might be more fun to fight, and Starwolf may be more thematic, but Andross is Andross. It's a grand and climactic finale that still blows me away to this day. It's shocking how well this holds up. Andross is the highlight of an already extremely impressive game. He's intimidating, detailed, and expressive. It's one of the most spectacular things you can find on the 64. But it's also a pretty satisfying and fun fight. I really like how it evolves as you destroy pieces of him until he's reduced to either a frantically chomping metal skull or whatever this is. This final form he takes in the true ending is so weird and eerie, and the perfect representation of Andross's insane genius. The encounter with Andross is bolstered heavily by the lead up to it, as well as the aftermath. Venom 1 sees Star Fox obliterating hordes of minions as they navigate the deadly canyons, before Fox faces off against Andross in a one-on-one battle. Venom 2 has a less grand preamble, replaced by the intense final showdown with Starwolf, but it makes up for that with an incredible ending sequence, in which Fox follows the spirit of his father to escape the exploding base. There's just no argument here, Andross is the most powerful moment in the game, no matter which path you take. So for me, it will always be the best boss Star Fox 64 has to offer. That's going to do it for this video, so thanks for watching. As always, leave your own thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to check out my Discord server if you are so inclined. If you'd like to see more Star Fox content, you can check out my retrospectives on Star Fox 64 and Adventures, and subscribe if you want to be notified when I release my Star Fox Assault retrospective. Thanks again, and take care.